Welcome back to the Crucible in Newbury, and it is semi-final time in the latest Taom Shootout Series event. And let's meet our first two semi-finalists. Introducing first, and what a run this guy has had today. He's been living up to his name of TheMachine, a former World Championship semi-finalist, John McAllister. And his opponent has been absolutely brilliant today. Told me earlier on he was jaded and he's barely missed a ball since. His last match, he said that was the best he's ever played. Let's see what he's got this time. Introducing Martin McIntosh.
Alright, so it's our first semi-final. Got Martin McIntosh against John McAllister. Both played out of their skin in their quarterfinals. And I'm delighted to be joined by Simon Webb for this first semi-final of the Taom Shootout.
Evening Dan, evening everyone. Really looking forward to this. I've been out in the arena for much of the night, and I have to say I was very impressed with John McAllister, of course. I always am, but Martin really impressed me. That was a great performance, beating Sean Chipperfield. Not just the win, but also the fact that he was put under it, and he came up with the goods in the final frame. Very impressed.
Yeah, from being 4-1 up and having Sean sort of throw everything at him, and to then pull out the finish he did at 4 each takes courage, takes balls, and he's shown plenty of that this evening.
And the one thing he did do very well in his last match was break incredibly big. That was part of the reason why he got off to such a flyer, so it'll be interesting to see how his break is in this match.
Yeah, I think the table seems to be breaking well for everybody. Obviously we are blessed with some very good players with some very good breaks, but they seem to be getting good splits and threes and fours quite regularly.
I'd argue that he hasn't caught that break particularly well, but he still made a ball and he's still got a big split.
Yep, what about this first shot? Just needs an angle. I don't think he's got it either. I'd love for that white to have just landed a little bit short of where it was, and he'd have had the angle to break into the red and yellow that are next to each other. This problem area for this frame.
Yeah, the more balls he pots before he can figure that red and yellow out, the more problems he's going to cause himself. You see, he's already trying to work it out. What can he do with it?
Yeah, we always say you want to get into your bad areas as early as possible, so that you've got as many balls as possible that you could potentially be on, should you not land on the one that you're going into.
Exactly what we were talking about. If he was able to get into that first or second shot, he'd have balls in the top half of the table and he'd still be able to continue this visit. Now he's snooking himself. He's banging trouble.
Yeah. He might see it as a little bit of insurance that John's got a couple of yellows sort of. Well, he's now got 2 visits to do what he wants with as well. But John's just got a yellow on the left-hand side cushion that's going to need to be broken out or sorted out. I think we'll see him do that straight away.
I was chatting to Martin before I interviewed him a little bit earlier on tonight, and he's a player that we see on the Shootout. He's very flamboyant, wears the colourful trousers. He's quite vocal on social media, and almost life and soul of the party. But underneath all that, I think, is a guy that is really desperate to try and prove himself on this sort of stage. He wants to try and compete with the top boys. He referenced it in the interview, and I think he was very proud of the way he played earlier. But also, he doesn't want to just be the sort of the joker, if you like. He really wants to prove himself.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, actually. Your first impression of Martin might well be, like you say, he's the you know, doesn't mind the attention of wearing the flash clothes and the, you know, and the silly trousers and stuff like that. But he's actually a really down to earth, nice guy, and loves his pool and takes a lot of pride in what he does. And he doesn't want to come here and be, you know, he wants to be one of the seeds and feel like he's one of the very best. And he's, you know, the best he's done so far has, I think, just been a semi-final. And he's looking like going 1-0 down here. John's in complete control of this frame.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Martin so far, how well he played in his last match and what it sort of means to him, but he really is up against it. John McAllister is right up there, as good as anyone in the world right now. He's got a great style around the table, really composed player, but also just his patterns and his execution are absolutely top draw.
He just screams out of somebody that practices a lot. You know, he sees everything so quickly. He sees the finishes, the patterns, like you say, the pattern play, which is so underestimated as to how important that is. You know, and I think often the difference between a very good player and a great player is how they always, every single time, seem to take the balls in whatever order makes the clearance easiest. And he does it probably better than anyone. And I think it's one of them things I know from my experience of a couple of years ago when I used to play a lot more, and say now when I don't, and you just see things quicker. Now, you know, almost becomes second nature to you, whereas now you're kind of trying to remember actually what's like. It just all comes so natural to you, and that's what John screams of to me. He just screams of someone that is so well practiced and just in the groove at all times.
Well, he's certainly in the groove in this frame. Simple black to get himself in front. And no mistakes. Martin McIntosh had the first opportunity, ran out of position, snooked himself, and John McAllister said thank you very much. And he's doesn't show a lot of emotion when he wins or loses frames, does he? Doesn't give you a lot.
Looks bloody miserable, if you ask me. He's I think that's just his, you know, he's actually a really funny guy when you speak to him outside the arena. But I think it's a deliberate thing. You know, he doesn't want to get too emotional. He doesn't want to show too much emotion or get emotionally involved in it. He just likes to keep himself on an even keel, and that, I think, breeds the consistency.
Yeah, don't get up or down. Don't get too up, don't get too down.
Just treat every frame with the same amount of respect. Every clearance with the same amount of respect. The results speak for itself.
Huge opening break for John. Just what he wanted after winning that opening frame. Opportunity to go quickly 2-0 in front. One of the things I look for when a player plays their first shootout is how are they going to adapt to the 30 seconds and then 15-second shot clock. And John McAllister's not a slow player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a player that definitely likes to stay in his own bubble, very methodical. But it just shows how quick his brain is. He's just taken to it very quickly.
It is, yeah, and we see an uncharacteristic miss there. The commentator's curse, but he I think one-paced is the sort of word for it, really. He just never seems to rush, never seems to play too slowly. But like you say, his pool brain is up there with the very, very best of them. Whether it be we see it quite a lot with the creative shots that he plays when he is in a bit of a pickle. And some of the stuff you've seen him do to dig himself out of a hole is out of this world.
Yeah, very big shot maker. It was a bit of a surprise, the mistake he's just made, but Martin's just made half a mistake himself, coming up short on that positional shot. And you have to feel I know it's really early in this match, but this feels like a very big visit to the table.
I think he's just about okay. Assuming the black goes into the right corner pocket. You need to play this with sort of, I suppose you call it a deep soft screw. It's just reaching a little bit. Have an extension on his cue if he's got one, but he's going around the houses. He's fraught with danger.
A little feather on the yellow at the top of the table has really helped him. He can get past this yellow, and he's got the potting angle on the red.
Well, I'm not sure the natural angle is going to push the black over the corner pocket. It might push it into the yellow, so I might have to play this with a bit of stun. That's a great shot. It's a great shot.
That really was a magnificent shot from Martin McIntosh. The control onto the black was exceptional and a great pot. Ties the scores up, and that's what you're going to have to do if you want to compete with one of the very best players in the world, and that is punish the mistakes.
He said he was feeling very under the weather. Earlier he said he had a little kipper in between the first session and this session. He slept for a couple of hours. He said he felt a bit groggy, slept for a couple of hours, and he's woken up feeling even worse. And then he goes out there and plays the match of his life. Best match he's ever played, in his own words. And he seems to have carried on.
Well, maybe that's the key.
Maybe that's the key, yeah. Just be ill.
Beware of the injured sportsman, as they're saying. So maybe it's the same sort of thing. When you're ill, you're not thinking about the game or the consequences. You're kind of just in your own little bubble of being ill and feeling sorry for yourself and that sort of thing. And all of a sudden you play well.
Beware of the Scotsman with the sniffles.
Well, the Scotsman with the sniffles, his break is continuing to be huge. This is what he did in his quarter-final match. He broke like this all the way through it.
Like he said himself, the game and a half a lot easier when you're breaking big and getting first opportunity every time.
It's also not just getting first opportunity. Those finishes he made in his quarter-final match, and almost the chance he's got here, it's almost like there's nothing to develop. He's broken so big that the table's wide open for him, and then it just becomes about, can you control yourself around the table? And so far tonight, he's really managed to do that very well.
And that shot there was a hell of a lot better than it looked. To judge the amount of screw that he needed there, the touch required to execute that well. Actually a really good shot from Martin. I think ideally he wanted to be straight on this red into the top right corner, so he could have topped through and taken the right of the two reds into the left middle. Would have opened the frame up for him. He's looking at a plant.
It's a big shot. It's gone in. He's not out of the woods yet. The red's gone to the top cushion, and means he's going to have to get back up to it. It's still a very good plant.
It's just about come far enough as well, I think, to be able to play this dead weight and hold. Wants his line to be up the centre of the table. He needs to draw a line going from top to the bottom of the table. That's perfect. Like to have been a little bit closer.
He held it too well.
He's got man possessed, isn't he?
He certainly is. Just over a third of this match has been played, and it's the Scotsman, the underdog, Martin McIntosh, that holds a 2-1 lead, and he is putting the favourite John McAllister under pressure, which is great for us, because normally under pressure John McAllister finds a gear or two.
See a couple of fans in the corner there, absolutely loving it. I've seen this chap in the bald chap with the glasses just get slowly more drunk as the night's gone on. He's enjoyed himself a little bit more each frame.
It's a very long day for everyone here in Newbury. Not just the crew, but the spectators have really enjoyed themselves all day. One or two drinks, I'm sure.
Another big break from John. He's made a ball, made a couple of balls.
Excellent break from John, and I said in frame 2 it felt a big visit to the table for Martin. Now it feels a very big visit to the table for John McAllister. These are split open so nicely.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, he'll know if he doesn't finish these, then he'd fancy Martin too, so it puts more pressure on.
I think with the red in the to the right middle, it's going to be his problem. He needs to. I don't think he can play on that. He's gone straight into it now. I didn't realise he had the angle. It's a hell of a shot he's played there.
Crashed the natural angle. Yeah, he's really had to hammer that, hasn't he?
He's
really hit it hard.
And it's a really good shot. He's not a one-trick pony, John. He's well capable when behind. He's not just a flat-track bully. He's not just somebody that's an amazing front runner. He can grind it out with the best of them if he needs to. He pulls the big finishes out under pressure, time and time again.
Not quite got hold of the white in this visit yet. Needs one really good shot just to get control of this frame.
Yeah, hamper cueing as well makes this missable.
He's still hampered cueing. Doesn't look the perfect angle. It looks a little bit off straight the wrong way.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get too close to this black, is he? I think he's going to have to leave it at a distance. He can try and get close to it, but it's very risky. He contemplating playing it with run inside to get even better position. Surely you guys got to drop it in, haven't you? Leave yourself a shot.
Just got to give yourself a shot on the black. Any shot will do. And that's brilliant.
So well controlled.
As we reach the halfway point in this match, John McAllister ties the scores up at 2 frames all. We're into the 15-second a shot phase of this match with 15 minutes to go. And it's anyone's.
Standard in this evening session has really ramped up. John played perfect pull to beat Jordan Church earlier. Martin's played the match of his life, and now they're continuing it against each other. It's brilliant to watch. It's great pull. 15-second shot clock now as well. Seen that catch a couple of people out today.
For the first time in a while, a disaster on Martin's break. He's caught the break really well again, and he's really unlucky for that white to be pinballed into the top right-hand corner. I think those sort of situations, the 15 seconds seems to disappear even quicker, because you want to give it some thought how you're going to see the whole frame, how you're going to make the clearance, how we normally would in a normal standard match, but you just haven't got the time, and you have to almost just go with your real gut feel.
You know what John does so well though, he's rushing without looking rushed, if you know what I mean. He's playing quicker, but still looking. Liam Dunster does it so well. He can adapt to this format and play quicker without looking or seeming to look rushed at all. It's a real skill in itself.
He's not rushing the actual shot itself, still staying within your own sort of cueing rhythm, even if it's a little bit quicker, maybe not quite as many sort of pullbacks. Although that shot was as normal a rhythm as you'd ever see from John, whereas the previous shot, he just, because it was a simple drop in, it was, that's where he was able to create some time.
Yeah, it's just knowing how to adapt, isn't it? Just,
I thought he'd missed that for a second, just went off the jaw.
taken to this format like a duck to water, isn't he? He's looked so at home.
He really has. Doesn't look happy with himself, but he is back in front. 3 frames to 2. 2 frames away from the final. But this really could go either way still. Plenty more drama in this match. Believe it or not, I actually think John is showing a full wide range of emotion tonight. Normally we see him a lot on the IPA Tour and he's very in the zone. You see nothing. Tonight he's giving us just a little bit here and there. He's almost singing along with the music from time to time as well.
He does, yeah. Yeah, he's laughed a little bit, a couple of comments from the crowd, and you know, but he normally likes to just completely stay in the zone in his bubble.
Oh, it's time for John's biggest break of the match. That is huge.
Wow. It's just... He's been... Now, Jordan Shepherd's in the semi-finals, and he's won 2 matches comfortably. He just won his match 5-0 against a former world finalist, but I think John's been the best player today so far.
I'd agree with that statement. I watched the Jordan Shepherd match out in the arena, and I've watched an awful lot of Jordan Shepherd over the last few years, and although he won 5-0, I've seen him play better. I've seen him look sharper. I know that sounds a strange statement with a 5-0 victory, but I don't think he's at his brilliant best. Certainly not yet.
No, but I think, like Shed, I think he's just got that intimidation factor about him now, especially in this format, that even players like Simon Fitzsimmons seem to find a way to make mistakes that they maybe wouldn't make normally against people. And the cue ball's just on a string for John. He's clearing these up as if they were easy, and he had a couple of problem areas, but because his cue ball's on a string, it just makes the game look so much easier than it is. I mean, he is completely in the zone, completely in the zone. And forgive me for being biased, or just, you know, giving my opinion, but I'd love to see him against Jordan in the final. I'd love to see it.
Well, we may well see that yet, but John McAllister opens up a 2-frame lead for the first time. I asked the question, or I posed the scenario that John McAllister was under pressure at 2-1 behind. How has he responded? It's been incredible.
He's just turned it on. Just come back with haymakers.
Martin hasn't missed the ball yet. He's run out of position, but he hasn't missed the ball. And you know, he's 4-2 behind, 9 minutes left on the clock, under all sorts of pressure now. That's what John McAllister can do.
I say he just keeps on that even kill, and just, you know, doesn't seem to panic when he's behind, but he's still ruthless when he's in front.
Disappointingly for Martin McIntosh, that is the worst break he's hit tonight. Complete miss hit. You can see, look at the balls in the bottom half of the table. Didn't really get much of an explosion. Didn't get the split he wanted.
No, and it's slightly under hit there as well from John. I'd like to have been slightly higher up now. This makes this pot missable. Natural angle, he is going to be going into this problem area, but he's left himself at distance now. Didn't want to be this far away from his work. The way he's queuing, you just expect him to float it in and find a gap and find another ball to be on, or just hammer it in. I mean, I've never seen somebody look so confident. In fact, I have. Jordan Shepherd.
Yeah, all the top players, when they're absolutely at their best, always give me this feeling that they're never going to miss. But John's chasing a finish now. There was a couple of big shots early in that visit, but it was a visit that was always felt like it was getting away from him.
It's just right. It strikes me as he's actually too confident. You know, the finish he's taken on there and the way he's tried to play that at 100 miles an hour down the cushion. It's almost as if he's got too much belief, if there's such a thing. A lovely problem to have, wouldn't it?
Well, any belief would be nice, but oh, Martin McIntosh, what have you got? Can you stay in this match? The clock isn't a big problem.
No, not at all. Plenty of time.
Just got to focus on winning this frame of Paul. chances there.
Yeah, just top this through. Like to be straight on the next red in the middle.
Cracking visit to the table for Martin. Keeps himself in this semi-final. 4-3 behind in this best of 9 match. 6.5 minutes left on the clock. He's going to have to keep half an eye on the clock, but he's still in with a chance. Although he's going to have to dodge that John McAllister break in this next visit to the table.
Crowd's starting to get a bit involved now as well. It's a huge break for John, because if he breaks dry, Martin's playing more than well enough to finish these, and he's got time to win the match.
He's not dry. It's another huge break, but
break.
Split's not the best this time.
7 balls past the balk line. It's ridiculous power.
What do you do if you're here, if you're John McAllister? He could, if he wanted to, slow this match down. And he's having none of it. Full-blooded. Going after these yellows.
It's tough because you say slow the match down. If he covers the pocket now, I think there may be a plant on for the... Yeah, no, he's too confident to be slowing anything down.
Well, I was just thinking if he'd taken a yellow to the top left, he could have then the yellows had control of the top right, and I just felt that he could have then controlled the frame, because the yellows in the bottom half of the table just aren't sitting nicely for him.
Oh, as well as John's playing, he's probably less than 50-50 to make this finish. I'm sure I'll live to regret that comment, but
there's still 5 minutes on the clock. If he could have played out a tactical battle for 2 or 3 frames, 2 or 3 minutes, which was possible.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's in a bit of pain. And yeah, he can take this up to the top left, and if it goes in, which it has.
Of course it has. It's John McAllister.
As it happens, he's got a perfect angle to... He's going for the double. He's just too confident. I mean, this is ridiculous.
He's not less than 50-50 now, Dan.
This is ridiculous. No clues. No prizes, should I say, for guessing why he's nicknamed the Machine. This finish is ridiculous. Effortless.
High-class pull from John McAllister. That's some of the best pull we've seen in the shootout all year long on Freesports. John McAllister showcasing all his skills. A great tournament for Martin McIntosh, but he bows out at the semi-final stage. He'll be back, but it is John McAllister that goes marching on.